you and I have had lots of conversations behind the scenes about traveling, and prior to you even making this move, I know you and I kind of went back and forth, and I kind of told you my opinion and everything like else like that. And I, obviously now you and your family are there, and I'm pretty sure it's been an interesting journey. So I don't know much about Saudi Arabia. I know you've told me, that there are certain things you can't speak about, and I know, for many people in the diaspora, money is a motivating factor. But like, what are some other reasons, like maybe that encourage this move at this time and with your family? Because I know it's not always easy to travel with a young family.
You know, I don't like mincing words about it. Money. That's just one word for it. Money is the motivating factor. If- because really, I love Nigeria. I love Port Harcourt. I think around 10 years ago, 9 years ago, we are talking about Nigeria, and if you can remember, I didn't think anything was going to make me leave Nigeria. Like
Mm.
I thought I was the one who was gonna stay back and make Nigeria work. But you have dreams, you have beautiful dreams, you have things you want to do in your community. It's just money because I love Port Harcourt and I love Nigeria. And I love the organization I was working with in Nigeria. I didn't want to leave. Like there were many emotional attachments to Port Harcourt. There are still many emotional attachments to Port Harcourt. So for me, the only reason that would have made me to leave Nigeria at the point when I left and made me to leave Port Harcourt at the time when I left would have just been money. This is just keeping it straight. That is money. Nothing else that made me to leave. Nothing else that made me to leave, really.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, and trust me, I understand that. I know, again, that's the typical immigrant experience. Many of us, we wouldn't want to leave our home countries if things were working perfectly fine. People do leave because of greener pastures. But why Saudi Arabia? Because it's not a place that I would say many people, desire to go to. I don't know if you can speak to that.
Okay, when if you want to move, you're looking at what are your options. So at the time I wanted to leave, if I'm going to live to anywhere, I'm going to go to where I'm needed, right? Everybody wants to go to where they are needed. So I had to start applying for jobs because this is one way that I can live. If I have a job somewhere, then I can live and say, okay, I'm going here to work. And I think it's also an easier route if you already have a job and you're not the one bearing the cost of moving yourself. Like for me, coming to Saudi Arabia, I wasn't the one bearing the costs. I have a job. The company that gave me employment gave facilitated my visa and brought me down here, and it also made it very easy for me to settle in because a company was bringing me in. They are responsible for me, and I think that's just it.
Okay. I'm pretty sure maybe your wife probably had some of her reservations. As far as you moving, I can imagine. If my husband were to tell me, "Hey, well, let's move to Saudi Arabia," I might say, maybe not." So, like, I guess, how did she view it initially? Like, what did she think? And what did you think prior to you moving? Like, any expectations?
Not just my wife had a lot of reservations. Everyone I knew, everyone I knew had reservations. My parents had their reservations. I think just about everyone had their reservations about moving to Saudi Arabia. But looking back now, I think my wife can see that so many things are not the way they seem. These are always the way they seem. I know somebody was telling me. I know there's a sister of mine who was telling me that Saudi Arabia. I heard that if you get there, they are going to force you to convert to Islam. People have a lot of wild thoughts about Saudi Arabia that I can tell you for sure are not true. They are not the true state of how things are. When my wife was coming to Saudi Arabia for the very first time, because I left before her, when she was coming in for the very first time, she was telling me that at the airport, she was sitting close to this guy and she they had a conversation and she told the guy she was going to Saudi Arabia. And the next moment, the guy was calling someone else on the phone and was telling the person that he is sitting next to a lady who is going to one of those God-forsaken countries. I bet. I wish he knew. I wish he knew that Saudi Arabia is really super developed, more developed than people think in their heads, and you need to be here to know. And people think that there will be a lot of restrictions. I don't know. Maybe there used to be a lot of restrictions in the past. Right now, it's a lot beautiful. You know, one of the fears that people had when my wife was coming also was that she will not be able to wear all the clothes that she has. She would need to be wearing abaya like a Muslim woman all her stay in Saudi Arabia. But it's not true. She came in here and it's so nice. She dresses the way she dresses, even when she was in Nigeria. I know that doesn't mean that someone have to maybe, I don't know, dress weird, but for her, even in Nigeria, she has been a moderate dresser. So she dresses exactly the way she loves to dress, even while she was in Nigeria. And I think that makes her happy. But that's not the idea that many persons have out there. Some people think maybe there's a calm down, you can't. Yeah, maybe in the past there used to be that. I don't know, maybe before we came here, people, and yes, even after I came here, people were saying things like that. But I've spoken with Saudis who told me, no, these are not the way things are. No, I know Saudis who don't wear abaya, who don't wear the niqab and cover just the traditional way that they cover. And I asked someone one day, "Ah, why not dress?" I never knew she was Saudi. We just had a conversation. I asked her. She said she was Saudi. I said, "You're Saudi? How come? How come you're dressed this way?" She said that this is not really like it's a cultural thing, yes, but it's not a law that you must dress this way. There's no law that says you must dress this way, you must wear abaya and niqab. There's no law like that right now. That that law no longer exists. What exists right now is very cultural. If your father, if the head of your family permits you to dress this way, then no one is going to stop you from dressing this way. But if your father does not permit it, but for her, her father doesn't have problems with her dressing the way she's dressing. So she's free to come out this way. So these are part of the misconceptions that people have out there. Maybe because they have idea of what it has been in the past. I don't know.
Right.
I was not here at the time. But right now, Saudi is a beautiful place that I think anybody would want to stay. This is just straight how it is.
Nice. Yeah, thanks, Indu. And I can appreciate that as a person who, loves, global affairs, international studies. That's my, my background. So I can appreciate the fact that, traveling obviously opens your eyes to different parts of the world that you ordinarily wouldn't have experienced. All those perceptions and stuff. Once you get there, you see, what life truly is like. So I love the fact that you and your family are getting to see Saudi Arabia in a different light where many of us might not, kind of view
Yeah.
it from. So that's really important.
It was also very easy for me because from on my part, I didn't have a lot of fears. Not because there would not be a lot of fears when you want to go to somewhere new, but because I already had some friends who are living in Saudi Arabia. So we've had conversations. They've shared with me how life is. So I think it was pretty cool for me wanting to come over, right?
Yeah.
And even some things that they said, like when I just got into Saudi Arabia, some Nigerian friends were telling me, see, now you're here, please, it's don't even look at any Saudi woman, don't even look at them, don't look at them. When you see them, just keep your face straight and just be walking. And really, I believe that. So whenever I see a lady, I'll just be looking straight. I can't even turn to maybe look at who she is or but now I get to see that that was I don't know what how to describe what it was like believing that you can look at someone. You can actually have conversations with Saudis, the ladies who work with them in the office. You can have conversations with them, but you have to maintain that cultural boundary. You
Right.
don't have to overstep your boundary, but you can sure have conversations with them just the way I'm having conversations with you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And what you said is so true. Unfortunately, many people, because of their own fears, they like to project it onto others. And it can really limit you, when you're trying to make a move. But I'm happy that you decided to do this for yourself and for your family, and it looks like it's paying off so far. So that's awesome.